Hello, welcome to my studio today. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm coming live on Facebook around 10 a.m. Eastern, give or take a minute or two, but to just open up the window into my studio so you can watch me work on whatever my latest project is and listen to me chat a little bit about whatever's come to mind for that day. I do always find some way to tie it to my art, even when it's a topic that doesn't seem like it relates. So today I want to talk a little bit about loneliness versus being alone, which I think is interesting because it's an interesting paradox, I think, between the two. But also I find that the piece I'm working on right now and the piece I just finished also sort of relate to this loneliness versus alone conversation. So I'm going to get you situated so you can watch me sew and hear me talk. And we'll get going, all right? So thanks. I'm going to pick up my iPad just so you're prepared and you don't get dizzy, and I'll set you down in just a sec. Thanks. Try and keep my arms out of it. I always seem to get body parts in the way. That'll work. So, anywho, I am still working on Connected, which is the latest in my Feelings series. And these do take... It's turning out they take me about 6 weeks to do, and that's primarily because I sew many days a week, roughly 5 days a week, certainly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on the weekends. I don't sew all day, every day, because just at some point my back gives out, and I just can't do it. So like I said, they take about 6 weeks. Most of the time is spent on the stitching bit of it, because that just takes the longest. It just does. I very densely stitch these pieces, and so it takes what it takes. But I am finishing up the last of the big black sections on Connected, and I'm excited about that because stitching black on black is kind of a pain in the butt. It's hard to see, depends on the light. But actually, it doesn't even depend on the light. Sometimes more light makes it worse, but anyway. But yeah, so I'm finishing up the last section of black today, and then I'll be able to move on to the white. I'm planning to sew for about 2 hours today. We will not be on Facebook Live for 2 hours. We'll do maybe 20 to 30 minutes, basically till I run out of things to chat about, and then I'll let you go for the rest of your day, and I'll keep sewing. So, anyway, the topic I kind of want to address today, I was thinking about it this morning, and sort of in my morning meditation, I sometimes ask, for guidance on what it is that I maybe should discuss, or what should I do today, or is there something I need to know? And today I realized that I wasn't quite clear on what I wanted to chat about while I stitched today. And what came through in the download was to talk about the difference between loneliness and being alone. Because there is a difference, right? You can be lonely in a crowd of 20 or 30 or 100 or 1,000 people. You can feel very, very alone, or feel very lonely. And alone is just literally the thing of being alone, more so. This is a relevant topic to me in particular because I said in the recent video that I've been feeling kind of blue, or gray, actually. I've been feeling kind of gray and down, kind of depressed, and I was talking a little bit about that. And a friend of mine asked me the other day if I was lonely. And my immediate response was yes. And, because it seemed like the right answer, considering that we moved at the end of March from Chicago to the Florida area, and we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I can't get out and meet new people and make new friends. So lonely seemed like that was the right answer to give, and it felt right at the time. But the more I've thought about it in the day or two since that conversation, is it's not so much that I'm lonely, because I'm talking to you guys right now. Whether or not you're talking back to me doesn't matter. I'm not lonely in that respect. I do enough Zoom calls or phone calls during the week with friends or colleagues in my business mastermind group, or that sort of thing, to keep myself, content with conversation and interaction with others. And so what I realized really today is that it's more about feeling alone. And because I spend the vast majority of my days in the house by myself, like being alone. I like quiet time in my house by myself. You know, and then Rocco gets home in the evening, and I'm not alone in the house anymore. But it's what it is. This pandemic has basically forced all of us to isolate, right? Which was the piece that's hanging behind me right there, right? It's forced us all to isolate, and we can't really go out and do things. You know, what we were accustomed to doing, whether it was just quickly, oh shoot, I need to run to the store, and you didn't have to think twice about it, and off you ran, or you want to get a massage, and you just book your appointment, and off you go to Massage Envy or somewhere, or you want to go to the beach, or you want to go to the lake, or you want to go to a restaurant, or you want to go to a bar, and all of these things that we never thought twice about doing, right? We can't do as readily. I know we're doing them in different places, different states, but like Florida has shut the bars back down, Texas has shut the bars back down because the numbers are spiking again. And so, you know, and I think as we continue, if the numbers continue to spike, more and more places will shut back down, and things will get even more complicated, probably than they were the first time. But I'm finding for myself in particular that because I work from home, it's almost like I feel trapped in the house because I can't really go anywhere, right? And here we are in a brand new city, in a brand new state, and really, how do you even explore, right? We can get in the car and go drive around, but we can't really get out and go, you know, we can't go wander through a museum, really not comfortable even wandering around the beach, and then today is a holiday weekend, so I really don't want to go to the beach. And it's this alone thing that I think has been bringing on the gray mood that I've been in recently. Because really what it comes down to is one, yes, I'm feeling kind of stuck and trapped in the house, and that's getting really old, and that's kind of depressing. But it is what it is, and we gotta keep doing it. So it comes down to making a choice. I can continue to either still feel gray and be in my gray space because I can't go out and live life like I used to prior to the pandemic. None of us can. Or I can choose to find ways to adapt the current adapt myself to the current situation and not feel so alone. And so, for example, like one of the things I suggested to Rocco was that this weekend we just get in the car and we pick a destination or we pick a direction and we're going to go for a drive. And well, maybe we get someplace where we can wander around a little community or that sort of thing. Maybe we find some little cute place that, you know, a cute neighborhood maybe that we can at least just get out of the car and walk down the street without getting too close to other people, just to have that sense of being out in the world. Because we do feed off energy, the energy of other people. It affects our moods, it affects our attitudes, both positively and negatively. But we all are giving off, I don't care whether you believe in the woo or not, I do, so I'm going to talk about this, but we all give off a vibe. You know, we give off either a positive vibe or a negative vibe, and we can certainly feel it through things like Facebook Lives or Zoom calls, but there's nothing really matches that energetic vibe that we get when we're actually in space with other people. So again, hard to do right now, you know. You don't want to really, at least in my mind, you don't really want to go wander around the mall or again sit in a restaurant or in a bar or whatever. It's hard to socialize with other people without keeping distance. And again, when you move to a brand new place and you don't know anybody, who are you going to socialize with, right? The whole point of moving to a new place is you typically go to the bar or the restaurant, or you go to a museum or you find people and you just strike up conversation. Not as easy to do right now because people are a little wary. So, and also, places aren't open. Or you sit so far away, you'd have to yell. So, like I said, this morning I sort of thought about this and realized that it's not so much that I've been feeling lonely, but rather that I've been feeling alone. And so I'm going to make a decision, or I'm making a choice to change that, and we're going to figure out ways to sort of insert something into my week where I leave the house more than once a week to just go to the grocery store, because that's all I've been doing. So no wonder I've been gray, right? If the only time I leave the house is to take my walks by myself or to go to the grocery store where at least there's other people, it's no wonder I'm feeling alone. So like I said, I'm going to change that. And the reason I find this sort of an interesting thing as I'm working through this particular art piece is the piece I'm working on right now is connected. And what happens when I create my feelings out of fiber is that I tend to channel that feeling as I'm making it. I start to really connect to that feeling. So when I was making Isolated, it made a whole lot of sense. We just moved across the country, and so I was, I had a really big gray spell while I was making Isolated as well, and it was because of how isolated I was feeling with this new location and the virus. Well, here I am working on Connected, and I'm having a heck of a time connecting to connection because I don't feel connected because I feel like I'm alone, right? The paradox. So, like I said, we all are like, maybe I didn't say it, I don't know, I ramble a lot. That's one of the fun things about the window in my studio. You get to hear me ramble. Is that we are always at choice. And I guess that's really what I'm trying to say, is that we're always at choice, myself included. And up until recently, up until really probably today, I've been choosing, I think, unconsciously, to feel alone. Even though acknowledging that there's an external situation that kind of is promoting that alone feeling. But I can choose to feel it, or I can choose to not feel it, because it's driven by the thought in my head. And so if the thought in my head is I'm lonely, or I'm alone, or I feel gray, or life sucks, or this is hard moving cross country, or whatever the thought may be, whatever the sort of unhelpful thought could be, I can choose to change the thought, and choose to change my feeling. And one can drive the other. I can choose to not feel alone anymore. And that's what I'm doing, right? I'm going to choose to feel connected in some way, shape, or form to other people every day. And it reconnects me to the piece I'm working on right now. So I am curious if anybody who's watching this, whether live now or in the future when it's sitting here that comes across your feed, and if you choose to listen to this, is how are you handling feelings of loneliness or feeling alone during this pandemic? Because I very strongly suspect that I'm not the only person who feels this way, right? And so today is really not only to sort of out myself and be more authentic, which is what I committed to the other day, is to share even the dark spots as I'm talking, whether it's about making my art or me personally. And today, of course, is a little more personal. But I committed to that, but I'm also curious because, I'm committed to doing it because I'm hoping it helps others too. I'm hoping that it helps other people kind of know that they're not alone in what they're feeling, and that it's normal and it's understandable. Because to feel alone in the middle of a pandemic when you're feeling like you can't really leave the house is natural. And I forgot that. I actually forgot that it's natural to feel alone in a situation like this. Now you might think, well, how can you forget something? We've never been in a situation like this. True. But I really forgot those that I have the choice. And I'm choosing differently today. But like I said, if you're watching this, I'd be curious to know how you're handling, or are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling alone? And if so, what do you want to do about it? Do you need some help on it? I'm always up for a virtual coffee or cocktails via Zoom, so I can talk to you no matter where you are in the world. We find a time that works. We can hop on Zoom, and like I said, depending on the time of day, get yourself a cup of coffee, get your beverage of choice, get your drink, doesn't matter. No judgment. We'll catch up and chat just about how your life's going. These virtual coffees aren't necessarily to drum up business, although if you then want to look at my art, we can set up another one and do that. But it's really just to chat and to stay connected to people. If I'm going to create feelings, and if the current feeling I'm creating is connected, then feeling alone and feeling disconnected doesn't serve me in my art creation. So like I said, share with me, if you feel inclined, how you're feeling in the middle of this pandemic. And if you have any thoughts on what you could do differently, if you're not feeling super great. So, otherwise, that was literally my topic for the day. Otherwise, I just wanted to address the fact that this weekend is, for the U.S., is 4th of July holiday weekend. So I hope you're, find some way to celebrate while still practicing safe pandemic practices. I was going to say safe sex, but that's not the right thing. Safe social distancing, wearing the masks, washing your hands, all that good stuff. Just to kind of keep this thing from spreading. Because of course, the longer this goes on, the more we're all going to feel lonely and alone from time to time. But yeah, I don't know what we're going to do because, tomorrow Rocco has the day off. I'm working. I've got just my Friday administrative stuff, so it's only a couple hours worth of work on Friday. But then I have a virtual cocktail Zoom with somebody in the afternoon, and I might have a second one. I'm waiting to hear back. So he's gonna putter around the house because he can always find something to keep himself occupied. And Saturday we might go do something, drive around, explore Florida. There's parts of the area that we're in that I have not seen yet, that he hasn't seen yet. So we might just go do a little bit of that. And Sunday we'll probably relax around the house and do our weekly phone call with family. So I'm gonna, as I move on to another little piece here, I'm gonna shift over. I'll pull you closer to me again. So again, advance warning, don't get dizzy. And if you're feeling, I want to close with this. If you're feeling lonely or alone right now, drop me a comment, put something in the chat, do something like that, and let me know. And maybe we can set up a virtual coffee or cocktail hour and catch up. And maybe then both of us will feel a little bit more connected to other people. So that's the first one. And then the second one is, if you're in the U.S., enjoy your holiday weekend. Be safe, please. But enjoy the 4th of July. If you got a few fireworks, set them off. But don't scare all the dogs in the neighborhood. So I don't have any pets, but I understand that's a big deal. So I just want to put that out there. Remember that pets don't always like the fireworks. But they're still fun to see and they love the lights. So like I said, get in touch if you want a virtual coffee or cocktail hour, and we'll both feel a little more connected to another human being for a little while. And have a great, great holiday 4th of July weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.